Good morning, class. Today we're going to do a chapter called His First Flight. The chapter is about a young seagull. He was sitting alone on his ledge. His two brothers and his sister has already flown away a day before. He had been afraid to fly, and so he sat all by himself at the ledge. He was scared that his wings were too tender and too narrow and too weak to cut the wind in the air. The great expanse of sea that stretched down beneath, it was such a long way down, he thought, miles down. He felt certain that his wings would never support him. So he bent his head and ran away into the little hole under the ledge, and where he slept at night. Even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings and flew away, he failed to muster courage to take that first plunge. His father and his mother had been calling out for him, threatening him to starve him if he does not leave the ledge. But for the life of him, he could not move. That was some 24 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sister, perfecting them with the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fishes. He had been sitting at the ledge watching it all. And all the morning, the whole family had walked about in a big plateau which was opposite the cliff, and had been taunting him for the cowardice he displayed. The sun was ascending the sky, blazing on the edge that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten the previous night also. He stepped slowly out of the brink of the ledge, and standing on one leg, with his other leg hidden in his wings, he closed his eyes, and then he pretended as if he was asleep. Still, they took no notice. The father, the mother, the two brothers, and the sister were on the opposite plateau, enjoying and basking in the sun and enjoying their meal. He saw his two brothers and the sister lying and dozing with their heads sunk in the neck. The father preening his white-black feathers, and the mother constantly looking at him. The mother had now today bought a piece of fish, and she was on the opposite plateau. She scraped each side with a brick on the rock, and she was tearing the fish apart. The sight of food was maddening him. He wanted to have the food that the mother had in her beak. His mother picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with the piece of fish in her beak. He leaned out. He was very eager. He tapped his feet on the rock, trying to get nearer and nearer as she flew across to him. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted. Her wings were motionless. The piece of fish in her beak was almost within the reach of the young seagull's beak. He waited, and he was surprised that the mother did not reach him but stopped in middle. Wondering why she did not come nearer, and then maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. With a loud scream, he fell downwards and downwards into the space. Then a monstrous terror seized him, and his heart stood still. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a minute. The next moment he felt his wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against the breast feathers, then under his stomach and against his wing. He could feel the tips of the wings cutting through the air, and he was no longer afraid. He then completely forgot that just some time back he was so scared. Today, when he was just that moment when he was flying, he had completely forgotten that he had not always been able to fly, and commended himself to dive and to soar and to curve and shriek shrilly. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast expanse of sea beneath him, and then he thought of diving down. Skimming through the waters, he picked up a dogfish in his mouth, and when he made that first attempt, his family stood praising, screaming, and flying around him. This is how he conquered his fear and made his first flight. Children, we have challenges, we have things that we think that we will never be able to do, and we fail to take the first step. But we must understand that one little step of faith can help us achieve what we desire in life. Thank you, class.